This phone model has been inexplicably popular for years now. Is it because of the stylus, or is there... Is it because of the stylus, or is there something deeper? Whatever it is, I guess Motorola noticed its popularity and kind of made it the best of the Moto G phones of 2025. So this is the Moto G Stylus 2025. If you haven't been following the Moto G line, in fact, even if you have been following it, you may be a bit confused. Once upon a time, ages ago, there was the Moto G, which was a budget phone with clean Android and pretty good performance. Then the line was expanded with the Moto G Stylus, which drew attention with this thing. I guess people were thinking they were getting a Galaxy Note for less money. Spoiler alert, they weren't, but the fact is that every time a new Moto G Stylus launched, it drew a lot of eyes. We have the stats behind our reviews and videos. Then, in 2020, Motorola went completely bonkers with the Moto G. Moto G Play, Moto G Power, Moto G Pure, Moto G Stylus, Moto G G-Unit and Moto Leica G6. Yes, we were all confused as to which model was supposed to do what. Goosefraba. In 2025, Motorola relaxed, I hope. We are back to a more serene space. There's the Moto G Power and the Moto G Stylus. The difference is that while in the past the Moto G Stylus had slightly worse specs because of the stylus, I guess, this year is the best of the Moto G phones. In fact, the vanilla Moto G is the cheapest at $200 and it has the worst hardware, you could say. The Moto G Power does not add more power. It has the same processor and battery, but it has a slightly better camera and display for $100 extra. The Moto G Stylus comes with a better processor, better OLED screen, even more upgraded camera, and you know, the stylus. And it all costs $400. Is it worth your money? Okay, from the onset, it's a beautiful looking phone. Motorola really leans into making these lifestyle accessories, always putting trendy colors on them, and this year we have two variations of blue to pick from. The faux leather on the back looks and feels great, and I honestly would like to see this on more phones that are usually the boring and slippery glass. Kudos to Motorola for having it on even its cheapest phones. The display here is an OLED panel. Unlike the base Moto G, where it's LCD, it has a 120Hz refresh rate and a sharp resolution with about-ish 440 pixels per inch. And its colors are very pretty, with a hefty amount of customization for the color profiles. And I know what you're here for. You are here for that AI. Or to make fun of it. The Moto G Stylus feels like it's jumping on a whole lot of trends, trying to go, I can do that too! First of all, the stylus is not great. Moto says it has better sensitivity, but make no mistake, this is just a plain capacitive stylus, not something active like the Galaxy S Ultra Wacom powered styluses. It's not as fast or accurate or natural feeling, it sometimes writes in the wrong spot, and worst of all, it has no palm rejection, so when you place your hand like this, you may notice a weird spot of hieroglyphs, well, that appears down there for some reason. Then there's the sketch-to-image AI function, another I can do that too moment, kinda like Samsung's sketch-to-image, where the AI literally tries to turn your own scribblings into a work of art. The Motorola sketch-to-image mostly works the same. Sometimes it gave me a weird bug where it didn't fill in the thing that I drew, but instead generated an entirely different image based on what it thinks I was trying to draw, if that makes sense. And there's this handwriting calculator, which is a thing lifted from the new iPad calculator, I think, but this one doesn't do complex graphs that change in real time with your equations. No, it's just like a slower, clunkier, harder to use calculator. Finally, we do have Circle to Search, but you know, that's a Google thing on all modern Android phones, and it works as expected. Okay, I'm sorry if I dismantled that a bit too hard. A bad capacitive stylus and an implement AI into everything approach are kind of my pet peeves over here. But if we move on from that, the Moto G Stylus 2025 is not at all bad. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, which is much slower than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but it's still the best processor on a Moto G thus far in 2025. It runs pretty smoothly, snappy even. Motorola has a long history of just taking that core Android experience and optimizing it for performance and battery endurance, more on that later though, and then reaping the profits. There are a few extra features slapped on top. The signature gestures to launch the camera by twisting the phone or firing up the flashlight with the chopping motion. Just the bare minimum useful stuff with no extra bloat. Well, minus the AI from above. Its camera is okay. It does saturate colors a bit, almost creating that dreamy painting feel with neon skies and trees that are a bit too green. It doesn't burn highlights often, but it does crush shadows, so its dynamic range isn't great, but you can work with it and get photos that are good for memorabilia or sharing. Sadly, however, the battery life here isn't great. Don't get me wrong, it won't be dying on you early, but we've seen manufacturers make huge strides in this area recently, with phones lasting 17 to 20 hours on our browsing test. The Moto G Stylus only gave us 14 hours, and then it was down here for the gaming and video binging tests. This means that it will last you a day, but this is definitely not a 2-day or day-and-a-half type phone. The very good news is that it charges extremely fast. For 30 minutes on a 68-watt charger, you get 90% of your battery back. 40 minutes for the full charge. In the end, is this the perfect $400 mid-ranger? Well, we live in a world where the Pixel 9a launched for $500, and while that may be a bit outside your price range, it also means that the Pixel 8a should very soon go down to $400, maybe lower, at clearance prices. Then there's the Nothing Phone 3a with its own signature and unique styling for $380. It's slightly more powerful and has arguably the same-ish camera performance. Motorola is in a very competitive market and I can't see the right value offer here. 2 years of software support where competitors offer 3 or more, a stylus that doesn't style very well, AI features that you will probably not use. That said, it is a very pretty phone and it has a good looking screen and good enough performance, so if you like the accessory side of it, you'll be perfectly fine with the Moto Stylus 2025. Do the like and subscribe thing. Cheers, bye!